In the vast and intricate tapestry of human personality, there exist threads so rare they comprise less than 2% of the population. These are the individuals classified as INFJs, often called the advocate or the counselor. They are a study in contradictions, a walking paradox of profound empathy and fierce privacy, of intuitive vision and quiet determination. They are often deeply loved for their wisdom and compassion. Yet, just as often, they find themselves profoundly misunderstood, their most innate qualities becoming sources of friction and distance. This is not a story of flaws, but a journey into the complex inner world of the INFJ, an exploration of the very traits that make them both uniquely gifted and achingly solitary. We seek to bridge the gap of understanding, to illuminate the hidden motivations behind behaviors that can, to the outside world, seem strange, unsettling, or even unlikable. The first and perhaps most common misunderstanding arises from their deep well of insight. To an observer in a meeting or a casual conversation, the INFJ can sometimes appear to be a know-it-all. They connect disparate ideas with startling speed, articulating a future outcome or an underlying motive that no one else has yet considered. This is not born of arrogance, but from the very nature of their dominant cognitive function, introverted intuition. It is a process that works silently in the background, constantly absorbing patterns and synthesizing information into a holistic vision. It's less like recalling a fact from a book and more like seeing the completed blueprint of a building while everyone else is still looking at the individual bricks. Their passion to share this insight is driven by a genuine desire to help, to avert a potential problem, or to guide the group toward a better path. They are not claiming to know everything. They are simply trying to articulate the complex picture that has formed so vividly in their mind. This visionary nature leads to another point of friction. They can seem hopelessly unrealistic. The INFJ lives with one foot in this world and one foot in a world of perfected ideals. They envision how things could be, a reality more harmonious, more authentic, more compassionate. This gives them incredibly high standards, not just for others, but most punishingly for themselves. When they see a project, a relationship, or a societal structure, they see its ultimate potential. When reality inevitably falls short, their disappointment can be palpable. To others, this can look like a refusal to accept the world as it is, an impractical and frustrating idealism. But for the INFJ, it is a form of grief for the better world they can so clearly see, a world they feel a profound, almost sacred duty to help create, no matter how small their contribution. From this deep-seated idealism emerges a quality that is often misinterpreted as judgment. Because they operate from a highly developed internal framework of right and wrong, they are incredibly discerning. Their combination of intuitive insight and a focus on collective well-being means they are acutely aware of people's ulterior motives and the potential for actions to cause harm. When they grow quiet or pull back, it is rarely from a place of cold superiority. More often, it is a pained observation. They have sensed a dissonance between a person's words and their actions, or they have foreseen the negative consequences of a decision on the group's harmony. This perceived judgment is, in reality, a form of protective empathy, a silent bearing of witness to a moral compass they cannot simply turn off. They don't see themselves as a judge, but as a lighthouse keeper, silently warning ships of the rocks hidden beneath the surface. Perhaps the most infamous and misunderstood behavior is what is known as the INFJ door slam. To the person on the receiving end, it feels like a sudden, cold, and ruthless severing of ties. One day the relationship exists, the next it is gone with little to no explanation. But this act is never sudden. It is the final, painful conclusion to a long and silent internal process. The INFJ will give countless chances, absorb deep hurts, and attempt to mend a connection in subtle ways. They will endure manipulation and betrayal long past the point where others would have walked away, always hoping their silent appeals for authenticity will be heard. The door slam only occurs when their intuition confirms beyond any doubt that the pattern of hurt is unchangeable and the relationship is fundamentally toxic to their well-being. It is an act not of anger, but of profound self-preservation, a desperate, final surgery to save themselves from a wound that will not heal. Behind that closed door is not a cold heart, but a deeply grieving one. The inner world of the INFJ is rich, abstract, and visual, which often makes them struggle with verbal communication. In their mind, an idea is not a linear sequence of words, but a complete, multi-layered image, a feeling, an entire landscape of interconnected concepts. They can see the finished masterpiece with perfect clarity. The challenge, then, is to translate this holistic impression into spoken language, sentence by agonizing sentence. This is why many INFJs are far more eloquent in writing. The written word allows them the time and space to carefully excavate their thoughts, to edit and refine until the words on the page perfectly match the vision in their head. In a fast-paced conversation, they can appear slow or clumsy, searching for the right words, because for them, every conversation is like trying to describe the profound meaning of a complex painting in just a few short breaths. Their pauses are not a sign of emptiness, but of a mind overflowing with meaning, desperately trying to do it justice. This pursuit of precision and their deep desire to maintain harmony makes them particularly sensitive to criticism. It is a common misconception that INFJs cannot handle any negative feedback. This is untrue. A true INFJ craves constructive criticism, seeing it as an invaluable tool for growth toward their idealized self. They are, after all, their own most relentless critic. The criticism they cannot bear is that which is unfair, manipulative, or delivered with cruelty. Because their actions are so tied to their core values and their desire to care for others, such criticism doesn't just feel like an attack on their work. It feels like an indictment of their very character. It confirms their deepest fear that despite their best efforts, they have failed someone. They have caused disharmony. They have fallen short of their own impossible standards. It is the perceived breach of trust and the emotional weight of that failure that wounds them so deeply, not the critique itself. Finally, the INFJ can often seem lost, as if they don't know what they truly want. If asked for their preference at a restaurant or on a vacation plan, they will almost invariably defer to others, asking, "Well, what do you want?" This is not typically because they lack an opinion. It is because their primary desire, a function of their deep-seated empathy, is to ensure the happiness and comfort of the people they are with. Their own needs are often a distant second to the harmony of the group. This profound self-sacrificing nature, their constant willingness to place themselves in the path of difficulty for the sake of a loved one, can be misinterpreted as a lack of identity or a weak will. In reality, it is the ultimate expression of their core drive, to protect, to nurture, and to create a small pocket of peace and well-being for those they cherish. Even at great personal cost, they are not lost. Their compass is simply pointed at the true north of another person's happiness. To understand the INFJ is to embrace paradox. They are old souls who are fiercely idealistic, quiet observers with world-changing convictions, and deeply loving individuals who require profound solitude to survive. The behaviors that may seem off-putting are often the external manifestations of a rich and complex inner world dedicated to a deeper understanding and a more compassionate reality. They are not asking for the world to change for them, but for a small measure of empathy, a willingness to look past the surface and see the noble intentions that lie beneath. For in understanding these rare and gentle souls, we not only build a bridge to a better relationship with them, but we also learn a little more about the profound depth and diversity of the human spirit itself. If this exploration has offered you a new perspective, we hope you will carry it forward, fostering understanding in a world that sorely needs it.